Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my epic rant on the 2022 comedy sequel, Clerks III. Now, before I go any further sharing my thoughts on this depressing, sad sack of a sequel, I want to give a special shout out to Christian for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below, and I'll try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, where do I even fucking start with this movie? I hated this film. I absolutely despised this movie. I thought it was depressing. I thought it was boring. I thought it was not funny in the slightest. And I thought it was a disservice to the fans of Clerks and of this franchise. This was not fan service. This was fan disservice. This is Kevin Smith's middle finger to the fans of Clerks, the fans of this entire View Askew universe, and a middle finger to himself and where his career is at this point in his life. This was him just deciding to be a hateful, ungrateful prick and taking all of that aggression and all of that frustration out on Clerks and these characters. And it was disgusting. It was appalling to watch. How the fuck was this the best send-off to these characters, especially after this movie? This film had the best send-off to this franchise, and to Dante, and to Randall, and to everyone else in this series. This was the perfect send-off. Not this. This was pathetic. And I now feel the pain that other disappointed fans of this series and of these characters feel. Because prior to watching this film, I decided to see what all the hype was about with the View Askew universe. I decided to sit down and watch Clerks all the way through, rewatch Clerks 2, check out Mallrats for the first time, see Dogma again for the first time in years, watch Chasing Amy, and see a lot of these other movies in this franchise, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and so on. And after watching these movies, I got it. I understood why Kevin Smith had so many fans. I understood why people liked and really enjoyed these films and found this franchise and these characters so much fun to watch, and things were so beloved by these fans. I got it, because I felt the same way. And then I put this film on, and it's like all of that is thrown into a fucking wood chipper right in front of my eyes, and it's torn to shreds. And then Kevin Smith picks up all of that, all of those shreds, rolls them into a blunt, smokes it, and then laughs in my fucking face. This film is a disgrace. It really is. The film is directed by Kevin Smith, who also wrote this movie, and this is at the point in time in Kevin Smith's career where it is solidified that the man has lost his touch. He's lost his touch along with a ton of brain cells after smoking too much weed. This is what happens when you abuse weed and you do too much of it and you wake and bake every day. This is what happens. Kevin Smith should be a cautionary tale for people of, hey, maybe wake and bake isn't necessarily the best thing for you, especially if you're a creative filmmaker who once had a visionary mind like Kevin Smith. Because I do not believe for 1 second that the Kevin Smith who did this film would make the same decisions and choices that he made with Clerks 3. I don't buy it for a fucking second. Because you can see in Clerks 2 that Kevin Smith was happy. In Clerks 3, you can see that Kevin Smith is depressed. And he's going through some kind of midlife crisis. Which, you know what? Hey, it happens. But you don't need to use these characters and this franchise to express these emotions. You don't need to use Clerks 3 as a fucking therapy session. You fucking hack. Now, Kevin Smith's direction in this is also completely and totally unimpressive. Other than maybe a few shots here and there, it's nothing that is really that incredible, that intriguing when it comes to the selection of shots or the techniques or the movement. It doesn't even have the same energy as the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie did. And that's saying a lot. And in fact, when I'm thinking about it, that movie is a masterpiece compared to Clerks 3. Because as bad and as lame as that movie was, I didn't feel like the franchise was murdered in front of my eyes. I didn't feel like that after watching Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I was like, that was lame. But after this was over, I was just infuriated. Because I was like, this is just a waste of time and a waste of these characters. So yeah, nothing really that impressive when it comes to the direction, but the script is so much worse. I knew I was in trouble when the movie opened up with My Chemical Romance's Welcome to the Black Parade. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not the right tone or the right kind of song for a Clerks film. And you got the song playing in the background while Dante is reopening the quick stop, and he's still stuck there after all these years. You find out that Becky died, and so did his kid. It's like, the fuck, Kevin Smith? Why? Why did you have to do this? Is this because you just wanted to disassociate yourself completely from Clerks? You're tired of people saying that Clerks is your best film? You're tired of people associating you with Clerks? What is the fucking problem with that in the first place? Oh, I'm tired of people associating me and my career with one movie, one great critically acclaimed movie that people feel is one of the best films of the entire decade, if not of all time, if not of the entire genre of comedy. Oh, I'm tired of people associating myself with that movie. Why? There are so many filmmakers and so many people who would just love and would be lucky to have that opportunity to be associated with a film like Clerks. What is your fucking problem, man? Stop being an asshole! So yeah, it seems like he just wants to do whatever he can to distance himself from this franchise and these characters. So in order to do that, he takes this franchise to the back of the quick stop and fucks it in the ass with no lube, and then takes a gun and blows its fucking brains out. All the while, Welcome to the Black Parade is playing in the background. Yeah, Kevin Smith's just fucking that ass, fucking that Clerk's ass. While my father took me to the city to see the marching band, to join the Black Parade. And it's fitting because the Black Parade is what this movie is. The Black Parade is representative of the funeral procession. The nearly 2-hour-long funeral procession that is Clerks 3. Just, the fuck, man? Why? Why you're like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do the Alien 3 approach, and I'll foobar this entire fucking franchise to the point of disrepair, to the point where it's irreparable. Jesus fucking Christ, man. You're fucking unbelievable. So yeah, it starts off the wrong tone and the wrong way And yeah, it just took the ending, the perfect ending of this movie, the perfect ending of Becky and Dante, and just gun gun to both their heads, boom. I don't get it. I don't understand the thought process. Unless it was done out of spite. That's the only thing that makes any sense. So yeah, Becky and Dante's kid die off screen. Dante's still working at the store with Randall and he hates himself. Randall is still the same, which is understandable. But this time it's even more sad because now he's not in his 30s. Now he's like 50 years old. He's in his 50s and he's still being immature and he's still being a dickhead. And he's an even bigger dickhead now because for some reason Kevin Smith forgot uh, to write Randall properly. He just decided to just overemphasize the worst possible aspects of his personality and focused on them for the majority of the movie, which made Randall, who was once a charming, likable character, into an insufferable, unlikable douchebag who wasn't funny, who wasn't charming, who wasn't someone that was blunt but still had a good heart to them. He was just a bad friend and he was a bad person. And you know what? It's interesting that Kevin Smith views himself less like Dante and more like Randall. And he wrote Randall the same way that a lot of people view Kevin Smith. It's crazy. It's kind of ironic. And maybe that's a bit of his subconscious or his conscience coming into play there when it comes to how he wrote Randall, who's supposed to be a mirror of himself. And he killed off Dante because he wanted to make it so it's loud and clear that, oh, Randall is the one. I'm the Randall. I'm not Dante. But you've always been Dante, and you always be Dante. And the only way that you're going to be Randall is if you write Randall as an extension of yourself. So yeah, now it's just sad. These two are still working at this quick stop, and both of them are not happy. Elias is now some obnoxious Jesus freak who tries to essentially smite Randall because Randall is being a, a, a dick. He's being an asshole, and Elias is having enough, and so he asks God to smite him, and then Randall gets a heart attack. And then this is another extension of Kevin Smith because Kevin Smith himself had a heart attack, so he's got to insert himself, and it's like, I get it. Clerks was inspired by a lot of things that happened in his life because he worked as a clerk and he had that experience, but that doesn't mean you have to lean on that so hard with this film and this script. We already have been there. You already did that heart attack stuff. You mentioned some of that stuff already in the reboot, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. You don't have to rehash and retread that same ground. It's funny that there's a scene where Randall is being essentially yelled at by Dante because Dante's had enough of his selfishness, enough of him being a total selfish prick and just constantly, oh, woe is me, I had a heart attack, and da 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 da. And that's honestly how a lot of people probably feel about Kevin Smith. And is that why you included that in this script? I don't understand. There was no need to self-insert himself so much into the screenplay. So yeah, Randall has a heart attack. He gets miraculously saved by this doctor who goes through his dick, I guess, and fixes his heart. I guess that's how things work. And you're like, okay, when is a comedy going to happen? Isn't the Clerks series a comedy? I mean, look at the quote here for Clerks 2. Hilarious and outrageous. Where is the hilarity? Elias and his Jesus freak shit in the beginning? No. Randall just sounding like a bitter, jaded dickhead. And he's in his 50s and he's totally immature in the beginning. That's not that funny. Him getting a heart attack and then the nurse played by Justin Long speaking to some weird ass accent again and then talking about how he needs to shave his balls. That's funny? No, not really. Oh, the whole bit where Elias, he renounces God and then becomes a Satanist, and then Randall, because of the surgeon who's dressed like a witch, because hey, remember that little bit in Clerks the animated series? She's dressed like a witch, and then she cures him of his heart attack, and now he wants to make a movie, and then the movie that they make is literally just Clerks, but now with older actors. Like they bring back, oh hey, remember this actor or this actress who was in that scene in Clerks? Well, now look at how old they are. Isn't that fun? No. It's sad. It's sad and depressing. It is. It's fan disservice. It's like, yeah, if I want to see these actors and these people again, I'll go to a Comic-Con or some shit, or I'll watch special features. If I want to see a where are they now of these actors who played these roles in Clerks. And what is the fucking point of doing a meta Clerks sequel when all you're doing is just remaking scenes from the first movie? Why don't you have like new scenes? Oh, you don't have new scenes because that would take more effort. And Kevin Smith, he just doesn't have it in him anymore as a writer. He just can't hack it. So this is the best that he can give. A few little meta references here and there about Clerks and a little bit about Clerks 2 and just really bad attempts to balance a more serious tone. This film feels much more like a sad, depressing drama than it does a comedy sequel. Because there's a lot of scenes of Dante being distraught and sad about the loss of Becky and his kid. There's a scene where he's at Becky's grave and he's just crying, and it's rough to watch. And then you'll have Kevin Smith just try to insert his pot-addled humor in there with having Becky talk about all the famous people she fucked in heaven. And I'm like, there's a time and a place for this shit, dude. And it's not during this scene. And it's not. It'd be like if you had the funeral scene in Rocky Balboa when Rocky's going to visit Adrian's grave and we realize that Adrian is dead. And he's visiting her grave and he's having this somber moment. And then Paulie just comes up and just starts talking random nonsense and starts talking about all the other hot chicks that Rocky could have banged when he was champ. And it would be like, what the hell? It'd be like, what the fuck is this? There's a time and a place. So yeah, it's just a really bad balance of seriousness and comedy, where you'll have the grave scene. You'll have the scene in the hospital when Randall initially has his heart attack. You'll have the stuff with Dante later on when he's having PTSD at movies because of the fact that he hasn't been there since he first expressed his love for Becky. And it's just one of those things where you're just like, what is this? Why is this a thing? And yeah, the even the stuff with Jay and Silent Bob is sad because Jason Mewes, I understand heroin is a bitch and it really messed him up. And I'm glad he's clean and he's sober, but he just looks ragged and it's sad to see. And he does not have the same energy that he did in the other films, and not even in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Like, yeah, he didn't sound the same, but I still kind of felt a little bit of that energy. And at least the performance was actually good. I felt like the stuff with him and Harley Quinn Smith was actually some good acting between the two. Here, it's overacting and it's cringe and it's terrible. It is easily Jason Mewes' worst performance. Kevin Smith's not much better, mugging at the camera and being the director as himself, essentially playing Silent Bob. And Elias is just excruciating, and when it comes to his character in this, so annoying, so obnoxious. With I'm a Christian and I'm selling NFTs. Oh, now I'm a Satanist, and now I'm wearing makeup and looking goth, and now I'm selling NFTs, but now they're evil NFTs. It's like, I don't give a shit about NFTs or your stupid mute friend Blockchain, who's a poor man's Silent Bob, more like a silent bitch. Don't care. Don't give a shit. No, thank you. You got just a lot of stuff that's just like, what are we doing here? Like the whole audition scene, which just seems like it's just an excuse for Kevin Smith to throw in famous cameos again. And it goes nowhere. It's not like any of those actors or any of those people are actually cast in Randall's film. The whole stuff about having to raise money for the movie, which I thought was just another useless instance of inserting himself into things, because it's like, oh, we need to raise a certain amount of money, the exact same amount of money that it costs to make Clerks. I'm like, it's 2022. You just shoot it with your fucking iPhone. You don't need to raise 20 grand or nearly $30,000 to do a fucking film, especially a movie that pretty much nobody's gonna watch nowadays. Like, who the fuck would watch Randall's film to begin with, other than Randall's friends and some people in the town? No one. And they don't even do a good job making it seem like Randall's some kind of visionary. He just comes up with this concept, and then all of a sudden, in like one night, has a full screenplay. And I just don't understand the point of this. Let's just relive the greatest hits of Clerks, but done worse. Wow. So fun. Such a good way to send off this franchise with just another lame retread. And then if that isn't depressing enough, oh, then we have the moment where Dante tearfully rants at Randall and disowns him as a friend. Because Randall is just being a selfish prick with the way that he's handling this whole film. And with this whole talk about it's my movie and blah blah blah. And Dante has a point where he's like, no, it's our movie. It's our lives. And of course, that leads to him collapsing of a heart attack. And then Dante fucking dies. He watches Randall's movie, but Randall's movie is all of a sudden Clerks with some scenes from Clerks 2. And I'm like, what the fuck, Kevin Smith? You literally ran out of ideas, or you did not give a shit. You did not care. Because if you cared and you had some semblance of give a fuckitis when you were writing this script, you would have been like, yeah, let's actually show the movie that Randall made, not just Clerks and clips from Clerks 2. So it makes it feel like at least the movie that was being made during this entire film, the movie within a movie, at least you get to see that movie. But nope, didn't come across as Kevin Smith's mind at that point. You have that scene where Becky and Dante are in the movie theater and they're holding hands, and Becky tells Dante that he's got so much more to live for, and he says otherwise, and they essentially walk off, and they're going to be in heaven together, and it's supposed to be this heartwarming, just tear jerker of a scene, and it just feels so manipulative, and it doesn't work for me. It feels so fake and unearned, because this film ended things to me. It ended things. The book was closed on the View Askew universe by God herself. It was over. It was done. Becky and Dante were happy. She was pregnant. Dante and Randall were happy. And they bought the Quick Stop and they repaired it and built it back up from the ground up. They were living the American dream. End credits. That's That's all you needed. Instead, we get the fucking nightmare that is Clerks 3, which gives a nightmare alternate 1985 view of the Clerks franchise and its characters. Half expected Biff Tannen to show up in one scene. Call everybody a butthead. So yeah, dies. He dies of a heart attack, which I'm like, Randall survived. The doctor was able to cure him and do some miraculous surgery and save his ass. But Dante dies? The doctor couldn't do the same thing? And also at the same time, where was that doctor? You never saw the doctor again. She never was there to work on Dante and try to help him. It's like she fucked off to somewhere else and didn't give a shit anymore or something. Like, where the fuck did that doctor go? It's like, I saved one guy who worked at the Quick Stop of a heart attack. I'm not gonna stop the death of another Quick Stop employee again. Fuck that place. Dante, you're on your own. So you bring that up, and then the doctor just disappears, and then Dante dies, and then you have the funeral scene, which is just so cringe-inducing, and just made me facepalm so hard when I saw it. You're not even supposed to be here today. God. What a hack. Like, this is the kind of... Like, if you read this script to Kevin Smith in his prime, he would be like, what kind of fucking bullshit is this? Like, what kind of... You're not even... Dante dies, and then Randall says you're not even supposed to be here today. What kind of hack wrote this shit? And then it'd be like, you did. Like, what? Wow. And then you have this whole stuff with the Quick Stop and how Dante, he put the Quick Stop up as collateral with the bank to get a loan, and then also got some money from his former girlfriend and fiance in Emma, and she comes in to the Quick Stop and is basically saying, hey, you know, if you don't give me Dante's half, I'm going to own half of this piece of shit store. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this drama. Who cares? Dante is dead. This franchise is dead. Just get this shit over with. Why are we doing this? And then randomly, fucking Elias's his fucking NFTs take off. The kites are flying. And then they got all this money off of, you know, NFTs and cryptocurrency. And I'm like, you know, this is aged like milk already, because what happened to FDR and all of his other shit? People lost billions. Tom Brady lost over $600 million on cryptocurrency. So, yeah, they're rich now, and they just pay off Emma. And then now Randall is just going to mentor Elias, and Elias is going to take Dante's place at the Quick Stop, and then Dante's just there as a ghost. It's not even a Star Wars reference either. Like, I heard, it's like a Force ghost, you know, like a quote from, I believe, Clerks II. And I was like, okay, so you have a Force ghost thing with Dante, but there's not even Star Wars references. He doesn't even, like, really acknowledge Randall that much. He's just there behind the register. And I'm like, this is just hell for Dante. Like, this isn't a good ending for Dante. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm back together with Emma and my kid in heaven, but it's in heaven, and, you know, my life story is ended. I got no real third act. And now my spirit is just there behind the counter, trapped in the fucking Quick Stop. That's fucking hell. That is not heaven. That's not a good way to end The series that's Dante's Inferno. But yeah, I fucking hated this film. Hated this movie with a passion. The script sucks, dick and balls and ass. Nothing about it was funny. That's one of the biggest standouts, other than the disrespect that Kevin Smith had for his own characters and his own franchise. But also the fact that it's just not funny. I didn't laugh once. Not a single time. I didn't smirk. There was no chuckle. Nothing. It's not impressive from a technical standpoint either, from the cinematography from Leiron Kananov. It just looks like a direct-to-video, direct-to-streaming movie. The editing by Kevin Smith, he should have just deleted the entire movie. That would have been the best edit. Be like, hey, what happened to Clerks 3? I did the movie, and then I saw the final cut, and I realized that it was a depressing piece of shit, and it was a shit stain on the franchise and these characters, and I decided to just put it in a vault so it'll never be seen again because I made a mistake. Nope. Nah. That would have been the best move, but nope, it was released anyway. And the performances by the cast, they're not even really that good. Like Brian O'Halloran as Dante. There are some moments where the performance is actually good in terms of the acting, like the scene where he's just done with Randall. Like that was some good acting from Brian O'Halloran, but there's other times where he's just blubbering and he's being a little too over the top with the emotion, and it just feels forced. And then there's just a lot of other stuff where he's just doing the same line delivery and the same lines as Clerks, and there's only so much he can do. Same thing for Jeff Anderson. I think Jeff Anderson, his performance isn't really necessarily the problem, it's just how his character is written. Randall's just not likable at all. And Marilyn Gigliotti, it was nice to see her again, but she's just there for just a little cameo and a quick fuck. Rosario Dawson, she's still got charisma. She's still got, that spark, but Becky is dead, so you just see her ghost and just awkward, and just every time you see her, you're just reminded of what once was and how much this franchise has gone downhill and how much Kevin Smith has fucking blown it and blew the head off his own franchise. Trevor Fehrman, his performance was terrible in this as Elias. I've seen people say he's really good. Like what is so good about this performance? It's laughable. It's terrible. He's annoying. He's not funny. He doesn't really have any chemistry with anybody. Just bad. Jason Mewes is just as bad as Jay. Worst Jay performance in any of the View Askew films. Just embarrassing. And Kevin Smith, not much better. Amy Sedaris is the doctor. Dr. Ladingheim, whatever. Blockchain, yeah. Silent bitch, no thank you. Weak, nothing performance, nothing to that character. That character could have easily not even been in the movie, and it wouldn't have made a single fucking difference whatsoever. Jennifer Swalback Smith played a good bitch as angry Emma, but I mean, Millennium, she's back as in this. Harley Quinn Smith, but I thought she was a lot better in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Here it just feels like she's wasted. It doesn't have anything to do. Ben Affleck as this guy named Boston John is honestly one of the worst things I've ever seen Ben Affleck do in his entire career, and that includes a Geely or Jersey Girl. What the hell was this? Go back to working at Dunkin' Donuts or some shit, Ben. This is pathetic. Kate Micucci, once again, she's here as the movie's employee, just like she was in the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. You have all these other cameos like fucking Anthony Michael Hall, Danny Trejo, the Impractical Jokers for the audition scene. Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. Justin Long, once again doing a long cameo that feels like it's forever because it's so awkward and unfunny and cringe. I'm a nurse and I'm gonna shave your balls today, or whatever the fuck that was. Fuck that. And I mean, just god damn it, this movie. It's just so fucking bad and depressing and unnecessary. It really is. It's the kind of film that's so bad and so poorly put together and so much of a misfire and a combination of missed opportunities and no fucks that are given anymore from the writer, that it is astonishing at times to witness and just to see the level of shit that this film succumbs to and succumbs its audience to. It's just so bad and lazy and not funny and not needed. And it's just one of those things where I don't get it. I don't understand why this is approach that Kevin Smith took with a Clerks 3. If there was going to be a Clerks 3, which there didn't need to be one to begin with, and this film is proof of that. Oh, when you get older, you'll understand. Bullshit, my fucking dick. Stop with that nonsense. When you'll get older, when you are older, you'll get it. You'll understand. You just don't get it right now. I'm in my 30s. I'm going to be 35 in the near future. And trust me, I'm not going to look back at what's happened in my life at this point and be like, I did nothing. I'm nothing. I did nothing with my life. And my life sucks. And I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to be like Dante and just be like, yeah, you know, I got dealt a bad hand at times in my life. And that completely overrode anything that ever happened in my life that was good. So I'm just going to quit on life. I'm not going to do that shit. I don't understand why people defend this movie to like, oh, you just don't get it, and it's so poignant and it's so real and raw with its emotion, and it just taps into that whole sadness of getting older and times gone by, and I'm like, it's fucking Clerks 3. It's a franchise that had Jay and Silent Bob dancing outside the fucking convenience store. It's the same series that had Jay going snoochie boochies and da 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 and all of that. It's not a franchise to have this, oh my god, life is rough, life is tough, and there's death and there's sadness, and there's also rebirth in terms of you being able to see your loved ones again. This is not the franchise for that fucking shit. You want that? Go watch fucking Lifetime. God damn it. It's just so aggravating and frustrating that after this movie, this is what happens next. After this and after Clerks 2 and the first movie, this is what fucking happens next. I don't even want to call it a wet fart. That's saying too much. That's too much happening. Can't even call it a wet willy. That's also too much. Clerks 3 is more like a slow pass of gas. And it doesn't even stink up the room or anything. It just escapes from your asshole and then just dissipates into the air, and that's it. That's how this franchise and how these characters ended now because of Clerks 3. Just a slow pass of gas out of Kevin Smith's fat ass.